Okay, folks, this is going to be part 6 without my rambling. Hopefully, I don't know, might have come across some topics in here that I will want to expound upon. All right, this is General Woods, a speech to the C.F.R., who was a hostile audience to say the least. They didn't boo him or any of that other stuff, but they had their own agenda that they were already fixated upon, and nothing would ever deter them from that disastrous course that we are still paying for in the form of national debt. All right, we'll get our share of foreign trade. No man can foretell the future. But as long as we have products South America can use, and above all, if they have products we can use, we will get our full share of the trade. As for Asia, the same remarks pertain as to Europe. Japan needs us far more than we need her. Our trade with Japan incidentally runs between 5 and 6 times the trade of China, whom we are making such great efforts to help. Now, if this is true, and I have no doubt to even enter the thought of doubt concerning General Woods and his speech here, why did we have an embargo around Japan where they couldn't get food and fuel, and that's what led them to attack us at Pearl Harbor? What was the basis for the embargo around Japan prior to World War II? Yes, now I understand World War I and even in World War II, some of the atrocities they committed against China. But again, this is before World War II. Why the hell were we embargoing them from food, fuel, and any other necessities? I'm going to have to look that up. I think I'm going to make a note before I go any further. Please excuse me. Embargo of Japan pre-WW2. That is something I think would be of great interest. All right. Even if Japan gets control of the Dutch East Indies, and that is not assured, she is going to be more anxious to sell us rubber and tin to obtain dollar exchange than we are to buy the products. Now, you know, nowadays we don't need rubber trees. But rubber trees the French did need after World War II, and that's why they tried to take Vietnam back as a colony. Ho Chi Minh wrote 3 letters to the American president asking to be recognized as a democratic society, a democratic government. All were ignored. We allowed France to go back in and tried to regain it as a colony. They had their ass kicked at Dien Bien Phu. That was their last battle. It was also a hard, costly one for us, but that isn't what cost us. What cost us the war in Vietnam. There was never any political will to win. It was all a game of numbers to them, attrition, profit. You speak to some vets who were there before 73, if they will feel comfortable enough to talk to you, because most people don't want to talk to people who haven't experienced it, because you may think we're extreme. Well, he is doubtful of the information that is so hard for you to even address in the first place, and you finally find it within yourself out of love or compassion, whatever it is, to offer up this insight and then to be slapped down. Don't do that. Listen to the man or the woman and give them respect for what they went through. Yes, they may have a few biases of their own, and if you doubt that, go out and buy the autobiography of Robert McNamara, who was the Secretary of Defense at the time, and where he admits in his book that he knew all along it was unwinnable. But yet, we were there I know at least since 61. I actually think we got there in 56 or 7 with the advisors. 61 when they built it up a little bit more. And then after Kennedy's assassination, we had LBJ. Everything went in the toilet. Boy, did it go in the toilet. All right. All right. And if war with Japan comes, we can get Bolivian tin and develop our synthetic rubber. We are certainly as resourceful as the Germans, who are filling 90% of their rubber requirements with the synthetic article. In 1937, Colombia's trade with us was 168 million pesos. With Germany, 40 million. Of Venezuela's trade, the United States took 12.5 of their imports and furnished 53% of the exports. Germany, 13.6% and 42% 0.5 exports. Of Costa Rica's imports came from the United States, 23%. From Germany, of her exports, 45% went to the United States and 19.5 to Germany. As for lack of organization, if need be, we can meet fire with fire. We can set up export cartels and mass purchasing organizations, and we can do this without danger to our system. The Americas must stand together. Americans like myself feel that our true mission is in North America and South America. We stand today in an unrivaled position. With our resources and organizing ability, we can develop with our Canadian friends and an only partially developed continent like North America and a virgin continent like South America. The reorganization and proper development of Mexico alone would afford an outlet for our capital and energies for some time to come. And while I think we should try in every way to maintain the friendship of our neighbors to the south, I think we should also make it clearly understood that no government in Mexico, Central America, and the Caribbean South American countries will be tolerated unless it is friendly to the United States, and that if necessary we are prepared to use force to attain that object. See, even he thought little of overthrowing a legitimate government. It's a disease of the mind, I think. Instead of what seems to be a sane objective, we are on the verge of throwing our treasure, that's the youth of the country as well as the financial wealth, and our blood into a European war with consequences that no one can foretell. Well, we don't have to foretell. We see it now. We're still under the debt of that, the crushing debt. And it only compounds interest because we can never pay the interest. I respect the honest views of honest Americans, no matter how opposed they may be to my own. But there are two matters that I resent. First is the attempt to smear anyone opposed to what I might call the majority publicized viewpoint of what we should do in this war. When the editor of a pink New York sheet denounces Colonel Lindbergh as the head of the fifth column in the United States, we have reached the summit of mudslinging. You may disagree violently with Colonel Lindbergh. You may feel he has made serious mistakes, but you have no right to denounce a courageous, patriotic American citizen as a traitor merely because he disagrees with your views. And that's what America's come to? We're traitors if we disagree with your views? I'm as American as the next person. I'd give my life for the true Republic of America and for the Constitution and the Bill of Rights if they were still intact. And they're not. So I would willingly give my blood for the people of this country. All right. This is as bad as the Nazis, an attempt to suppress freedom of speech. Well, we can see that's gone. It's been gone for some long time. Now they put you in cages miles away from anything that's going on. Just like in the Democratic and Republican conventions. You remember how everybody was put in a cage miles away to exercise their right to free speech, and how a photographer had his face pounded into the pavement and broke his teeth off.